What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports, back again with another one. WBC heavyweight champion Tyson, the Gypsy King Fury. There's only one Tyson Fury. Did an interview with IFL TV and had the internet going nuts in my Power Wow voice. Made some very interesting comments in that video. Basically said, everybody out here saying that AJ Fury is pretty much a done deal. They just dotting their I's and crossing their T's. It's nowhere close to being done. Poured cold water on all those interviews that Eddie Hearn was doing and Bob Aaron was doing, saying, hey, it's a pretty much done deal. We sent the contracts out to Tyson Fury's team. He got about 50,000 managers and 50,000 people that represent him. But once they take care of all those paperwork and sign the contract, man, we're ready. We're ready to rock and roll, according to Eddie, the con artist. But Tyson Fury poured cold water on that and said, look, I don't know if the fight's going to happen. It's going to eventually happen, but will it happen next? I don't know. Until the money is in my pockets and I'm in the ring staying across the way from Anthony Joshua, it's not a done deal as everybody claiming it is. It's not a done deal. He did another thing he said was, Deontay Wilder could be next. I could be fighting a trilogy with Deontay Wilder. Who knows? All he did was say, look, only thing he basically confirmed and said that was set in stone is, hey, I'm fighting twice in 2021. ESPN Top Rank Boxing owes me 2 fights in 2021. I don't care if it's against Joe Blow, Fred Flintstone, Freddy Krueger, Jason from Friday the 13th, Michael Myers. He's fighting 2 guys in 2021. Another thing he said that was very, very interesting. He said, look here, all this talk about, hey, we're going to fight in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, or we going over here to the Singapore, Macau, China. He said, my last 5 fights have been in the United States of America. I fought in the Staples Center, LA, California, IA, against Deontay Wilder, the first fight. And then after that, I fought in Las Vegas, MGM Grand, T-Mobile, were the fights he fought with Wilder and the Tom Schwartz and the Altel Wildens of the world. He fought in those venues. And he said, basically, the United States is my adopted home, and I would be continuing my career fighting in the United States. And you know where that goes to? People drop the ball on a lot of little things and when they just assumed this fight was going to get done. Tyson Fury doesn't have a license to fight in the UK. So for all that talk about, oh, man, it's going to be the biggest fight in British history. We're going to have this fight in the UK. Nah, we're never going to be in the UK. Just for that very reason right there, that he don't have a license. He would have to go in front of the BOC and basically get them to give him a license. He got a lot of explaining to do, for a lot of transgressions of the past. You know, and you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the PEDs. I'm talking about that boar meat. I'm talking about that hush fund that they paid that farmer out there to keep quiet when he ran off at the mouth and said that that boar meat was nothing but bogus. And then he quickly MIA and disappeared and didn't speak no more. But again, Tyson Fury out here making waves. Yeah, listen, let me, this is to me, man, I hate to go to here, but I'm going to go there. This is like the old Eddie Hearn playbook. He played the same playbook with Deontay Wilder. Got in front of me, oh man, Wilder, Joshua 75% done. We're trying to make the fight happen. And all the while, behind the scenes, him and old Papa Hearn was guiding AJ into a fight with Alexander Povetkin. Had no intentions of fighting Deontay Wilder. Wilder team offered him $50 million. Instead of saying, where do I sign? They were like, oh, we don't know. This guy from Alabama sent us a paperwork saying he got $50 million. We can't believe a guy from Alabama, and we want to see the contract, we want to see the paperwork, and this, that, and the third. You know, basically acting like Al Heyman is some third-rate promoter or some third-rate advisor that they can't trust. Come on now. The money was legitimate. That guy was behind 2 of the biggest fights in boxing history. Mayweather, Pacquiao, Mayweather, McGregor. Both of those fights did humongous revenue. Mayweather, Pacquiao did 4.6 million pay-per-view buys. Mayweather, McGregor did 4.3 million pay-per-view buys. So he can't come up with $50 million. You don't have investors that have seen his past events make this type of money, won't, fund him $50 million. Or he can't go to his bank and invest that money knowing he's going to get that back and then some with a Wilder AJ fight that took place in Las Vegas and what had that whole strip lit up that whole weekend leading up to that fight. Come on now. Again, like I say, people don't understand that Eddie Hearn and Papa Hearn, that's a.k.a. Barry Hearn, they are over at Matchroom Boxing. Their number one cash cow is Anthony Joshua. Why would you put him in a high-risk, step-up-in-class fight against Tyson Fury? Well, when AJ entered the ring versus Tyson Fury, will be the first time he entered a ring as an underdog. He's been a favorite in all his fights. This will be the first time he entered the ring as an underdog. Why would they take a chance he go in there and get beat? And beat soundly and dominated. I know a lot of you AJ fans say, wait a minute, it's a 2-fight deal. He's going to fight him again. If he get dominated in that first fight, he probably not going to take that second fight. And then if he did take the second fight, the interest wouldn't be as high as it would be going into the first fight. So ain't no guarantee it would be a second fight, especially if it's a one-sided beatdown. Not saying that's the case. I think AJ actually going to put up a real good fight. I think it's a little bit more competitive than what people think. But I think what it get down to is that fight is it's going to come down to a mental more than physical. Who's got the mental attitude? Who got the mental fortitude to implement their game plan and go through rough, trouble stretches in that fight? Navigate their way through troubled waters and come out on top. And so far, during both of their careers, Tyson Fury has shown to have more mental fortitude than Anthony Joshua, and I think that'll be the difference in the fight, along with his skill set. But we'll see if that fight ever happens. I'll break that fight down in more detail. But that's my preliminary thoughts on that fight. But will the fight happen next? That's the key. Again, he's the number one cash cow of Matchroom Boxing. Why would they risk him again in a high-risk, step-up-in-class fight against Tyson Fury when he could fight Usyk, the WBO mandatory contender for the heavyweight title? After that fight, Dillian White, if Dillian White successful against Alexander Povetkin in a rematch. And after that fight, Flip Huregovic, if he defeats Michael Hunter. Those guys all fight under the Matchroom Boxing banner. Those 3 fights right there can keep the AJ gravy train and hot train going. Why would they risk that? Because once he lose, no matter what, you can say, oh, he's going to come back, he's going to come back. The money's going to go down in this next fight, especially if he get dominated by Tyson Fury. He's not going to make as much money. Matchroom's not going to make as much money in the next fight coming off of a devastating loss to Tyson Fury. So why would they risk that when they going to make money no matter where or who AJ fights? They're going to make huge money because AJ is a global superstar. He's the number one or number 2 cash cow boxing. I probably put him right behind Canelo Alvarez. Well, let's see how he does in this next fight, because Canelo Alvarez's last fight with Avni Uderman, and the fight before that, Callum Smith, did modest numbers at the gate and on pay-per-view, from what I understand. And AJ fight what he did with Kubrat Pulev did great numbers, as all his past fights have done. Great numbers on pay-per-view. So he might even have replaced Canelo Alvarez as the number 1 cash cow boxing. But we'll see what happens. We will definitely see what transpires. But I just wanted to drop that little tidbit. Tyson Fury saying it's not close to being a done deal with Anthony Joshua. And why would Matchroom Boxing risk Anthony Joshua gravy train and high train against a fighter that's skilled and as dominated as a Tyson Fury, and risk going and losing their number 1 draw? He probably represents 75–80% of the revenue that Matchroom Boxing generates, and they don't want to risk that fighting a guy as risky as a Tyson Fury. Hope they make a lie out of me and the fight gets announced in the next couple of days. But they've been talking about this for the last several months, actually. It's been, 12 months since they both agreed to 50-50? And the fight hasn't happened yet. I guess not 12 months, at least 10 to 12 months when they both announced, oh, we agreed 50-50 deal in the first fight. We've already agreed to that. And it should have been easy as ABC 1 through 3 after that to get the fight signed, sealed, delivered. I'm yours. It should have been easy to get it done. It shouldn't be taking this long. You shouldn't be hearing in the last couple of months people saying, oh, we're going to have a deal announced next week. And next week come along, you don't hear nothing. Let me know your thoughts about Tyson Fury comments on IFL TV about the potential matchup with AJ, and then reigniting a possible Wilder trilogy could be next, because a lot of things going on in the background that people don't know about that could handcuff this fight actually being announced and actually going ahead. And that's Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua. Let me know your thoughts and hit the like button if you like the content of this video, and subscribe to JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. Holla.